Welcome.
Welcome, ThreeMythicsPodcast.
It is a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you, man.
Yeah, stoked you're here.
Thank you.
I think it's cool. I mean, for those watching, we met on Instagram, and look at us now. So
Yeah, here we are.
Conquering the world, which is pretty freaking cool. How's your day been?
One planet at a time.
Dude, it's been a crazy day.
Yeah?
Engagement, ring shopping all day, and then
Okay, so there's something to talk about.
Yeah, that's what's going on with that.
yeah, man. We went to 3 shops, and finally at the last one, I went to Jared's, and I got the ring. So we literally went to Jared's. So it's been a pretty crazy day.
The classic, Jared's. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, man.
Well, congrats on that. That's exciting.
Thank you.
I can't say.
Yeah, now I just got to make ring payments, so that's what's next.
That's certainly a thing. That is certainly a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome, man. That's awesome.
What did you do today?
What did I do today? I got 4 hours of sleep because I was playing Commando till 4 a.m. last night, and so
Right on.
I am so tired, and I literally spent my whole day just laying around watching It's Always Sunday.
It's always sunny.
Or that, yeah, that show. It's a fun show too.
Very nice, very nice.
And you?
Work.
Yeah.
I got so many projects due. Like over the next 2 weeks, I'm just swamped.
I'm not gonna spoil your job.
Might as well call me Shrek at this point. That's how swamped I am.
You do have a cool job though. So
Yeah.
that's what's
That's
up,
fun.
man. That's what's up. So, Garret, how'd you get into Magic? What's that whole story?
Dude, well, I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Like years ago, like everybody else was, like 4th grade, so that would have been like 2004. Yeah, man. And even before that, when I was like real young, like when Red and Blue, Pokemon Red and Blue had just like come out, so that was like 96.
That
was
I was collecting all the Pokemon cards, but I was too young to play or anything.
In America, I think it was
So then some buddies in the neighborhood back in the day, like back when you had friends in the neighborhood,
Yeah, right? What's
yeah.
that like now?
they were like, hey, you should play this card game, Yu-Gi-Oh! And I was like, oh, cool. And actually, let me take that back one step further. My uncle used to play Magic, so I kind of knew the cards existed, but other than that, I really had no idea what they were.
Right.
But later on, whenever 7th edition first came out, I got a starter deck
Very cool.
for 7th edition.
Nice.
And that was kind of like the gateway. But I only played kitchen table, and every once in a while at that forever, since like 7th edition. So I play like a couple games, take a couple years off, and then pick it back up. And then my dad, of all people, was playing Clash Royale. He plays it religiously. And I was like, hey, you should play Hearthstone, because Hearthstone's kind of neat. So he picked up Hearthstone, and then I got my girlfriend into Hearthstone. And from there, I was like, I kind of miss Magic. So I was like, hey, babe, you want to play Magic? And she's like, what's Magic? And I was like, this is Magic. We should try it. And she hates Magic, but I love Magic. And the rest is kind of history. So that's my history with Magic, I guess.
That's tight.
That is tight.
That's really cool. I feel like it's healthy to take off from card games, like breaks and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But
I used to do that with Magic. I'd sit
did
out like
Yu-Gi-Oh!
a block. Yeah.
Yeah, I did that with Yu-Gi-Oh! We both played Yu-Gi-Oh! Before.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I played, not religiously, he was in tournaments and on teams and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Oh, I was not. I was in the 4th grade, so
Oh, no, I was like White Sox level and stuff like that. So.
I grew up in Midland, back in Midland, Texas, and every Saturday they would have like the equivalent of an F&M, but it would be Saturday mornings. So it would be a whole bunch of kids playing Yu-Gi-Oh! On the floors of Toys R Us,
Wow.
except for like this old dude. There was one old dude, and I'll never forget him, because kids called him the Dragon Master. And I was like, that's some really silly stuff right there, friend. But yeah, he was just like this old dude that played kids in Yu-Gi-Oh! And that was it. But
That's
yeah, every
awesome.
Saturday.
That's how like my scene was in South Florida. Like we'd start at 10 a.m. and go almost to like 7 o'clock at night. That's how many people showed up for a Swiss style tournament, Yu-Gi-Oh! Yeah.
Oh, but the one in Midland was like so unorganized because it wasn't even a tournament. It was just a bunch of kids and they're like, hey, you want to play a game? And then that was it. So it was just a bunch of like pickup games. There was no tournament. It wasn't like Swiss or anything. It was just
ours
pickup
Swiss
games,
for,
and that was
prize
it.
support and everything. So
That's cool. I never did. I did a couple of Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments. They were
so bad. So bad.
I'm not going to comment on it, but Yu-Gi-Oh's are Magic. I'm sorry. I love Magic a lot more.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way.
Same.
Yeah. Magic, the community, everything about it. So that's cool. Down to Magic, what's your like favorite color, your favorite, deck, archetype kind of, format? What makes Magic like? What are you about Magic? Like, what makes you stoked on it?
Yeah, what are you drawn to, basically?
Personally, I mean, I haven't been playing all that long. I haven't been playing competitively all that long anyway. Mm-hmm. So my first format ever was Pauper. That was my first formal game of Magic, was a Pauper tournament.
Nice.
And I didn't know. I walked into the shop and I was like, hey, I'm kind of like looking to get into Magic. And they're like, oh, there's a Pauper tournament. I was like, all right, let me see your box of commons and uncommons. I'm going to put together some janky goblin brew, I guess. I don't know.
That's
awesome.
awesome.
It flopped. It was so bad because they come in with decks. Everything's all pre-built, net decked, and everything.
Right.
And they all play. They're all super into Pauper in Lubbock anyway. At the shop Stormcrow, where I like. That's kind of my hearth, so to say, for Magic. So some dude let me borrow his Burn deck. I was like, oh, I like Burn. And then when Dominaria came out, I went to the pre-release in San Angelo, so I drove a little bit to go play with some competitive players. And I was like, yeah, I kind of need to get into Modern, They're like, I was kind of thinking Elves, and they're like, oh, yeah, Green-White Elves is awesome. So I built Green-White Elves and couldn't ever get it to fire with the Vizier, Heritage Druid, Infinite Mana combo. That was kind of the win condition. I could just never get it to fire.
Right.
So I was like, I'm going to go Green-Black Elves. And I have been playing Green-Black Elves competitively ever since. The Golgari Elves and the Shaman of the Pack win conditions and stuff. I freaking love it.
He's a younger version of me. I've been playing that deck for like at least half a decade now. So yeah.
It's so cool, man. I love it.
I love it. It's the best. It's the best.
Yeah, it's good. It is very good.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to ask you.
The fact that Collecting Company is just insane because they just throw out elves like crazy and you throw out a shaman and then they're dead by turn 4 or 5 if you do it right. Mm-hmm. If luck is in your favor anyway.
I'll play against his elves deck a couple times a week, and every time it's like boom, boom, boom. Now you're dead, and it's just like
it's super fast.
So
man.
good.
It's crazy fast.
It's like dump the hands.
So good. Yeah, I've got like 5 lands out, and I'm dead. It's crazy. It's insane. It's a really good deck. It's a fun deck.
Oh yeah, it is. And the one thing that really kind of just irritates me the most, I think, is post sideboard. Like usually when I'm playing Control, I'll sideboard in 2 Convoke the Minds and a Thoughtseize.
Okay.
Like those are usually my go-to cards against Blue-White or Jeskai. And I will never pull a dual land. Ever. I'll pull Forest all day, but if I need black mana, it's somewhere at the bottom of the deck. Literally every time. More often than not, I will never have black mana on the field post-sideboard.
That's insane.
And that just irritates the snot out of me.
Of course.
Because he'll turn 1 pass a Llanowar, and then that's that. And then I'm like, okay, cool. So then I'm just playing slow mana, and anytime I can get a creature out, he just gets bolted or pathed or whatever. And then I finally get some elves, he's like Supreme Verdict. I'm like, son of a freaking bitch, man. I can't do anything. And then that's game 2, and then I'm like, oh, well, I guess I lost both. That's fine, whatever. But yeah, Control is probably my hardest, most difficult matchup by far. Usually I can kind of hang with any other, but when it's Control, that turn 1 path is just killer against elves.
Yeah, it's bad. Yeah, that is bad. Yeah, that can suck majorly. So I wanted to ask you later on, but I think I'm just gonna skip to it now. You said you've been playing competitively. Not for the longest time. I see, on your Instagram, McWhiskey_MTG. I'll put something here or there or over there maybe.
Yeah.
It says, see you on the Pro Tour. So how'd you get into competitive Magic? What's it like now? How long have you been playing for? Like, what's the story on that? Like, that's really cool to me personally, and probably this kid over here.
Yeah.
That's a great question. I started out competitive, I was like, if I'm going to play Magic, I'm just going to freaking go balls to the wall and just have at it and just freaking do it. And personally, I really don't care for Commander all that much for a couple reasons. One, I'm a new player. I guess technically I'm still pretty new. Right. But I just absorb everything and just anything I get my hands on, I'll retain it. So I like to think I'm kind of older even though I've been playing like 3 months, but like I just absorb it all. But there's so much card knowledge you need for Commander. Plus, it's more of a casual format, so I'm like, I could play Commander for fun, or I could use that time to kind of get better at the elves and knowing the modern format a little bit better, especially since it's modern season. So that's kind of where I spend my time. But since I've been 2 weeks before Dominaria came out, that's when I really started playing competitively.
Okay.
And I was playing Standard at that time, but since Modern was rolling up and Standard's about to rotate anyway, I said, screw it, I'll just bite the bullet and get a Modern deck. And then that's why I play the Green-Black Elves.
Very cool.
We were having a discussion.
Do it.
When was that? Last night, technically? Friday night? I don't even know what day it is. But yeah, we were talking, us and like 4 other people in the parking lot at our
That
F&M.
was last night, yeah.
About how it's much better to just sink money into a Modern deck than it is to like play Standard. So I think that was definitely the best decision we've made.
Even a tier 1, like tier 1 Standard, like Red Black Aggro. Everybody's playing Red Black Aggro, and it's only like a $300 deck right now. But it's about to all rotate. Like Chandra's not going to be there. Articuran's not going to be there.
Yeah.
So much of like the win conditions aren't going to be there. Then what's the name of the card? Scrap Heap Scrounger's not going to be there.
Yeah, that's
to pilot the heart, which is what I do anyway. I love piloting the Articuran with the Scrap Heap since he can't block anyway. So all those cards are about to rotate. So then you're going to have to spend another $300, and it's just a couple $300 every month, or you can pay $700 for a Green-Black Elf deck and then call it a day. In my experience, anyway.
Yeah,
that's what I did.
So I would prefer it.
And even I would say, since we're talking about competitive and playing competitive, even if you don't have a competitive deck, play competitively anyway if you're looking to get into competitive Magic, because if push comes to shove, you're going to lose. Okay, cool, you lost, but what did you learn?
Exactly.
What was your matchup? How did you fare against the matchup? And if you did have a tier 1 deck or the cards that you needed, would you have done better, or did you just play bad? Because if you think of Unclaimed Territory, for instance, Unclaimed Territory, I don't know how much it is offhand. Probably $10 if I was to guess.
We'll
That's just a ballpark figure.
You can put it up right in the video.
Okay. So if you have like an Unclaimed Territory for elves, you can summon. You can use it for any color to summon any elf. Versus Cavern of Souls, which is the exact same thing. Plus, it doesn't get countered, which is $85, especially with humans in the meta the way that it is. It's just skyrocketed in price. So let's say you can't afford it. Well, okay, you get 4 Unclaimed Territories to just kind of buy time. You might get your stuff countered on turn whatever, but had you have Cavern of Souls, it wouldn't have done that. But now when you can afford it for whatever reason, sell some stuff, have a garage sale, work a little bit more, whatever you need to do to afford the deck, at least and at least you kind of can gauge how you'll do, which is super important because you have to know, is your deck idea going to work, yes or no? Or, you just kind of have a couple pickup games and proxy your stuff. And I'm a huge proponent of proxy. As long as it's not like a DCI-sanctioned event, you can proxy all day and practice that way.
The dudes I was playing Commander with, they're one of the guys, over half his deck is all proxies. And it's just like, good for you, man.
Especially in Commander. If you want a tier 1 Commander deck, you have to, because then you gotta put all your Moxes in there, and you gotta put your Black Lotus in there if it's Commander legal. I don't remember.
I don't think so.
Offhand, because I don't play much Commander.
I don't think it is. But I get what you're coming from. I think
playtesting using proxies.
I think it's frowned upon, but I don't think it's rightfully so frowned upon. I think it's a very good way to learn, play, grow, yada yada yada.
And
absolutely.
I would like to add to that, like, my Golgari elf deck is definitely budget, but because I tech it a certain way, it definitely pushes people's shit in. So
I think it's interesting. It's like kind of depending how you build a deck.
It's a little toolboxy too,
Yeah, but how you tech it is equally as important as every other part. And I know at least, in our games, you screw me every time just because of, how you build versus how I build.
Right. I feel like that's the Yu-Gi-Oh player in me too, though. Yeah. Like going back to like teching like one-offs and stuff like that. So
you really never can shake Yu-Gi-Oh.
The pilot matters better than the plane, in my opinion. You can fly anything, but as long as you are a good pilot, you're gonna be able to fly whatever. So the pilot always matters more than the hardware you're running. So. And that kind of goes back to the play a crappy competitive deck versus going all out and not playing. If you do, I don't have a tier 1 deck, I can't play because I'll lose. Now if you can pilot it, you might win because you might pilot better than the other guy.
Exactly.
But your hardware might not be as good, and even if it's not, at least you learned, or hope that you learned. Because I tell myself this just to kind of keep, especially when I was losing all the time. Every loss is a learn. Unless you don't learn, then it's a loss. So that just kind of keeps the losing streaks in a positive light, because there's so many times where I've just done stupid things and didn't understand quite how the stack works or quite how resolutions work on spells.
Right.
Like, I'll have an army of elves and then get Anger of God, and I'll be like, okay, and all the elves go to graveyard, but I have Westvale Abbey on the board when I could have just sacked them all and got the demon out and just life-linked them to death. But I didn't think about that because he's like, oh, okay, well, they're all dead now. I can't sacrifice them because they're dead. Well, that's not exactly how that works in Magic.
Yeah,
which conceptually makes no sense. But since it's Magic, that's just the way it kind of works.
Right.
But so there's that learning element too, I suppose. And that was the hardest thing for me to get when I was learning the game. I mean, not that I'm not learning the game now, because I'm still every loss is a learn, right?
Right.
So. But like all the bare basics, like learning the mechanics and learning all of the ins and outs of all the things that make Magic, that was probably the biggest thing. Yeah. That was a little detour, but what it is, I suppose.
Yeah,
at the top.
I hear you. Sorry, I just totally zoned. But I hear you. It's very what am I trying to say? I don't know.
Honestly, like when I first started playing, because like my competitive Magic is F&M. So when I go to F&M and I win, I'm not really learning anything. But when I in the beginning, when I was playing like in Origins and Battle for Zendikar, the more I lost, the more I liked Magic, if that made any sense, because I was learning.
Oh yeah.
It. And I'm to the point where we're literally like dicking around at F&M. We're like playing 5-color decks just for fun. Because all I do is top now, so...
You do. I don't.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a couple podcasts that I listen to, but were you the guys that decided to run 5 colors and hoped you weren't in the same pod? That way you wouldn't be fighting for the same dual lands? Was that y'all?
That was us.
Okay. That's what I thought.
The fact that got out besides us is kind of dumb. Like,
and then, dude, everyone at F&M, they're like, are you that guy? Are you
literally
that guy?
The guys in, to my left and my right in my pod, we were in separate pods. They, I'd pass them something, and they'd just be like, the guy would just look at me and just be like, what are you doing? What are you running? And I'd be like, I don't even know what I'm running. And, my buddy down, 2 people who knows what we're doing is just cracking up the whole time. The guy next to me was just like, what, when we were going, to the right, he's like, what the fuck, dude? And I was just
because you had Jimmy in your pod, I had Mike in my pod, and everyone is just...
Yeah, no, it was literally we probably ruined their decks. Because they're like, oh yeah, this will come back to me. And I'm like, oh, I want that.
Mike was ahead of me, Phil was behind me, and Phil was like, you're a fucking asshole. None of us got the decks we wanted because you took on the dual lands.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Dude, there was just all these times where it would just be it's even though in my pod, which was weird, is there would be I'd see a dual land and be like, okay, I have to take this because that was our rule.
That was the rule, yeah.
But I'd be like, dude, I could wait a whole rotation and a half and I'd still get this land. It was weird. Anyways, yeah, but yeah, we went Wooburg.
Wooburg.
Well, I mean, I think it went well. We both went. We both lost 1-1 match, so it's silly. Yeah, it's fun.
I mean, as long as you're having fun doing it too, that's an important thing.
Very.
Especially with draft. Draft is such a bizarre format.
Oh yeah,
it's my favorite thing in the whole world.
I personally, I have drafted in my life 3 times since I've started competitive Magic because I don't know. It's a whole different scheme of things, and I'm focused in on Modern right now. I'm gonna approach draft after I feel comfortable here. So let me do this, and then I'll go on to draft. And I mean, it's so bizarre. It's such a different way of thinking about things. 40-card decks plus, you draft so you get the one card out of the deck or out of the pack. It's just a whole different scheme of things to think about. It's a whole different mentality.
Very. Yeah.
So
it's very.
But yeah, I guess that's the nature of the beast with limited. So
exactly. That's exactly what I was gonna say too. Like with standard, modern, commander, pauper, yada yada, whatever. It's in your deck. You go into the tournament or the game or whatever, knowing I have 3 of these. I play 4 of those. I play 2 of those. I tech 1 here. I do this. I have this many lands. With draft, it's.
Very by the seat of your pants.
Yeah, you don't know what you're running until like minutes before your first game, if you're able to memorize anything at all. Which is why I like it, because it's so off the cuff, so just like explosively random. But at the same time, the thing about draft is, in a sense, it's like modern and commander and constructed formats, because you know what cards are in the set, you know what archetypes there are, this guy's running, a blue deck, he's probably going to be running artifacts if it's M19. He'll probably be running this or that if it's a different set. And so it's like, even though you're kind of, thrown out into it just randomly, you still have some knowledge. So it's not totally a blind format, of course. But it's the limitations of limited that make it fun.
I guess that's what we call it, limited.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, it is limited, what you get in the pack is what you get. So, the best, I've only drafted like 3 times.
Right.
But the last draft I did was right before M19 came out. It was like probably 2 weeks before M19 came out. And it was Dominaria. Mm-hmm. And we each had 3 packs, and it was a pot of like 5 people, because the OGS that I played at back in Lubbock was fairly small, with a fairly small community. And I opened pack 1, there wasn't anything special. I opened pack 2, and there's a history of Benalia, and I was like, yep, that's for me. And then there was a Teferi, and I was like, yep, that's also for me. So that was pretty unfair for everybody else that opened up garbage. So I took barely, too, because there were some pretty skilled people that played there. I barely took it with first. But, it's not because I'm good at Magic. It's just because I had luck of the draw. I got a history of Benalia, and I got a Teferi. So I was like, okay, I can play some sort of control. Plus some sort of aggro with the Knights with Vigilance. So here we go. And so that was just luck. That was not skill even a little bit. So
of course.
Yeah.
The guy, it's interesting. The guy that was drafting across from me at the table, I was sitting on a corner, so my next guy was across from me last night. He pulled the Jund Dragon, and he pulled one other, he pulled a Tezzeret. And, granted, you really can't play those together for color deck.
Yeah.
But he plays one or he plays the other. Like what you were saying, he just pulled good. He'll probably win the game because he has a Tezzeret or the Jund, whatever dragon it is.
Oh, yeah.
I think he did pretty well from what I watched him in between rounds, and he did pretty well that night.
I didn't get around to talking to him or anything. But, yeah, I think he did good. He ended up definitely, I was at the bottom of the bottom, and he was easily to, there's these people who have won no games. They've won 1 game, won 2 games. He's easily, he had won 1 or 2 games easily. Mm-hmm. Before the night was over. And he was doing really good, and it's just, he pulled good. And, good for him. Cool. It always feels good to pull 1 mythic. He pulled 2. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Very, very limited. Let's see. We actually have a list of questions we want to ask you. So.
Yeah, man.
Kind of went over that. Are you building anything currently? You're very hyped up on elves. You just dropped all the money on that. Mm-hmm. But is there anything else you're looking at? Any cards where you're like, I need that?
Funny enough, I actually just sold a half-made Jeskai control deck.
Okay.
Because I was all I'm tired of losing control. I need to learn how to pilot control, and I want to do it competitively. Uh-huh. So I started buying the cards. And I was like, this is really expensive because it's like a $1,500 deck. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to Disney World in October now, and I just bought an engagement ring, or started the payments on it, so I need to sell this off right now for some money. So I sold, because it was only half made, I sold some of the bits off for about $300, and that was the down payment on the ring. So no, I'm not building anything anytime soon, it looks like, just because of financial reasons. But, real life kind of kicks you in the rear sometimes.
Yeah, so. Very cool. Very cool. That's totally understandable too. Selling it off of the ring, yada.
You
grow up, life moves on.
It's crazy because I also was building a Jeskai control deck after I built my elves, but I sold the majority of it to buy into Boggles. So I'm going to make Boggles pretty soon.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. And I think I'll start piloting Boggles probably. So
yeah.
Nice. Very cool.
Actually, since you said what you said, can I go on a little sidetrack thing for a second?
That's why you're here, man. That's why you're here.
This is for the McWhiskey blog. I think this will be the next article I write.
Next about
So, just things to do away from the table, from your FNMs and stuff. So, like, you have Magic Online, but let's say, you're on a plane or you don't have internet access or whatever, and you want to practice. The thing, and this comes from chess. I started chess very recently, like in the past week or two. And just kind of studying chess a little bit, just to kind of learn the strategy and learn the lines of play and stuff, and kind of how to think strategically in a different vein to kind of help with Magic a little bit. And I've been watching all these videos, and they're like, yeah, here's a game from 1740 between these two world chess champions back in the... I was like, what the hell? How do they know? Right. But they recorded their games. And they're like, oh, well, the knight went to d4, or the pawn went to d4, and then the knight came out to whatever. And they record them. So I was like, why not play Magic online, or play paper with a teammate or something if you're doing team constructed, and write down what you're doing when you're doing it, because for a couple of reasons. One, you have a record. So you always learn from your loss. So if you lose, you've got that. So when you're learning to pilot a new deck, write down the cards you're playing when, so you have a record. And number two, and I haven't done this yet, but I have a hunch that this is going to work really well. If you pull up a deck list, find a deck tech video on that list. But before you watch the video, see if you can come up with what they're going to say in the video first. Given the cards that you have, and given the text on the cards, see if you can find the win conditions, see if you can find the different lines of play that they're going to tell you about, and see kind of how the game is going to work for that deck, and then watch it, and then compare your notes to what's said. Were you on the money? Were you not on the money? Where'd you go wrong? What didn't you see? That way you kind of know what to look for with the next deck list, which then, when you're analyzing the meta for a given tournament or a given format in a given year, you can kind of better suit yourself and better train yourself to kind of analyze the meta and go, what's the win condition? What am I missing here? Mm-hmm. So even if you're not piloting the deck, like the Jeskai or the Boggles that you're going to build, excuse me, even if you're not piloting that quite yet, you are able to kind of understand how the deck works just by watching these deck tech videos and just kind of trying to figure out what's going on with those videos and with that deck. That way you're more creatively and by yourself, independently, trying to find those win conditions and trying to find those different lines of play, which makes you a better player because now you're thinking in a strategic line versus relying on Saffron Olive or Channel Fireball dudes or Star City dudes to kind of tell you what's going on. It makes you more independent, which then makes you a better player because you're not relying on the big names to kind of teach you what's going on with the deck or going on with the format or anything.
Yeah,
definitely.
And that's kind of what the Boggles kind of was a segue into that, to kind of talk about that. But I think that's probably what the next blog topic will be.
Yeah. That's interesting. What you were saying too is about like the paper and stuff. Is if the deck's supposed to do X, Y, and Z, and you're doing it like this, you record everything. You can also kind of determine if it's like a deck issue or a player issue. And like both are equally as important. But knowing the
line of play,
knowing the difference between the two definitely is I think that's just extremely powerful for your being a player of Magic. Is knowing, was it the deck, was it me, was it both, was it neither, and it was just some, random, 1% fluke that happened?
Yeah, and, that's part of the nature of the beast, too, with Magic, is there's a built-in RNG. Like, can you just not top deck because your mana flooded, or can you just not get mana because your mana screwed? Now, is that because the deck is screwy, or is that because all your lands ended up at the bottom accidentally because the shuffle was just bad?
Right.
And, recording your games, being able to analyze what's going on will help you kind of determine that, just like you said. So
right. With that, I kind of want to lead into the next question. I want to talk about your blog. Actually,
yeah,
it's very exactly what we were talking about here. Very strategic minded. Very it's all based off The Art of War. I can't say the author's name. So what
Sun
is
Tzu.
it? One more time.
Sun, like sun in the sky,
right.
And zoo, like a zoo, like you go to the zoo to look at the animals.
Okay, very cool. Thank you. Art of War by Sun Tzu. I think it's a very interesting approach to Magic. Personally, I was reading some of it and whatnot the past couple of days.
Oh, cool. Well, I appreciate your reading, man. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, of course I'm going to check it out. And, it's all very, super duper war, and then it's, a card game, and it's, how can you meet in the middle,
Oh, hang on. There's a doorbell ring.
Oh,
and
good.
Now the dog is going nuts. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, all good. All good. But, yeah, I was wondering, where did that inspiration come from? How'd you put those two together? If you're starting a new blog post, you read chapter 4 to be your 4th blog post, maybe something like that. How did the blog come to be? What's the whole deal with that? I find it very interesting.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. But I think the blog came out of just kind of studying the game. And, I mean, I was a music major, history minor, but I taught history in public school, and I was kind of a musicologist, so to say, and took a musicologist approach, which is the study of history through the lens of music, right? So it's just here's kind of culturally what was happening in the U.S., and here's some of the evidence musically to kind of back it up. And that's basically what I did. But since I was kind of a historian and kind of history-minded, just it kind of came naturally to me, I guess, as a connection. You're doing warfare, so to say, and you're thinking strategically. Well, what does history have to say about that? And everybody refers to Sun Tzu when they're thinking about military strategy.
Right.
Ever since Sun Tzu wrote those books all of those years ago, what is it, 1000 BCE and all of that.
Yeah.
Military strategists have always looked at it. So I did a Google search, and there was one or two, one on MTG Salvation and one on the Magic website itself in a forum post, kind of analyzing Magic. But personally, I didn't like the way they did it. They just kind of took every sentence and forced it into Magic instead of looking at the overarching chapter, looking at the overarching ideas that Sun Tzu was writing about.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, let's see. And, when he says things like moral compass, for instance, which is, in my opinion, probably the most important of everything he says, especially when concerning Magic anyway. Mm-hmm. When you have a good moral compass, everybody's going to kind of flock to you. So not only is it good to have friends and good to be a good person, but by having friends and being a good person and being a good influence in the Magic community and not being a dillhole and an asshole. Right. And there's plenty of those, which is kind of one of the inspirations for the blog. The inspirations. Oh, hi, dog. Dog decided to open the door. The moral compass is, you don't have to be a dillhole and you don't have to be an asshole to people who are new and to people who are playing the game. And through that, you'll get better because people will want to play you, which means you'll have experience and you'll see things that you wouldn't normally see when people are avoiding you. And there's a very specific situation, just to kind of as a real-world example. Back in Lubbock, there's just this massive, massive dillhole, and just to protect the names of the NSN, I won't say his name.
Of course.
But, there's 2 LGSs in Lubbock. He was banned from one for toxic behavior, so he played at the other one. And the other one consisted mostly of high school kids. And these kids are, real good kids. They're awesome people, and they're going to go on to do some really good stuff. But this guy would just come to the store, and he's like a 40-year-old dude playing Magic, and he's a manager of a store, and he's just being a dillhole to all of these kids all the time. So much that, the manager, when I left, was looking at kind of finding any excuse to kind of ban him from the store.
Right.
And that was another huge inspiration to really kind of bring down that moral compass point was, nobody wants to play with you. And because nobody wants to play with you, you're not going to play Magic. And if you're not going to play Magic, you're not going to play this game you like. and you're going to have to find a new hobby. Or you can be a positive influence and be a good person, and people will want to play with you, and you can help them out, and they're going to help you out, because everybody you play with has something to offer you, because they know something you don't, because their life experiences are different.
Right.
So everybody has something to offer, and by being a positive person and having an outstanding moral compass and being keeping everything righteous and everything kind of good in your world, and being nice to others, you're going to do better. And people are going to want to play with you, which gives you better experience, which then increases your odds of going on the Pro Tour, because you're going to have the experience that the jerks don't. Unless it's just a whole bunch of jerks playing jerks, and then that's a whole different story. But nobody wants to play with those guys anyway.
Right.
But just as a kind of another shout out, there's a podcast called the Pro Tutor Podcast. And it's what I started listening to before I even got into Magic, because I knew I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it 110%. So I started listening to this podcast, and this guy, Sean Penrod, he's the host, and he brings in people on the Pro Tour, people who top 8 at a GP, and he interviews them. He asks them the same set of questions every show, but everybody's answer is different because they're all different players. But they're all, the main underlying factor is that they're all incredibly humble and incredibly nice. And I think that's the most important thing. And that's kind of the biggest takeaway I've taken away from that podcast, is everybody's super positive. And everybody's like, yeah, you lose some, but, that's just the stake of Magic. So, if you get mana screwed, don't get butthurt about it, because mana screw happens. You're going to lose to mana screw, but you're also going to win because of mana screw. And if you do that at a GP, then it's going to be in your favor, unless you are mana screwed. And if it is, well, that's just the RNG of Magic. That's the random numbers that in favor, and you can't pull a lane because they're all at the bottom. Well, that sucks. And that just happens.
Yep.
But, it's all of these kind of things that come together that really kind of influence the McWhiskey blog, and that Art of War frame of mind is the strategicness as well as the character building, because both of them are equally as important. It's the 50-50 in Magic. It's the yin and yang of Magic.
Definitely.
So
that's actually really cool.
I took the fast amount of notes.
Nick's writing notes over here, just jotting down all this stuff. It's really cool.
I actually to add to that too. I've gotten to the point where people are asking me FNM on how to build decks, and also while I'm playing people, complimenting them on their plays and their I don't think linear exactly is the right word, but on how they play, and especially how they interact with the plays that I make. If I think it's a good play, I'll compliment them on it.
Of course.
So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, being complimentary and being open is way better than being closed and silent and buried. And, I would have won if I would have pulled right. Well, you didn't pull right, so eat my butt, you jerk.
Yeah.
So, that does you no good. You congratulate them, you say, good game. You don't try and take away their win. Sure, they won because you got mana screwed, but so what? They still won, you still lost. That doesn't change the slip that you're going to submit to the judges.
Exactly.
So, congratulate him, shake his hand, and don't take away his victory. Or just like you wouldn't want somebody to take away your victory if you won. But I would have won if I would have drawn my supreme verdict. Well, you didn't, so sucks. And then, that's that.
That's exactly the dude. That's super spot on. I think for our experience, where we go to play games, we have a lot of good people. Everyone there, it's a bunch of people, but we have the usuals, and the usuals always are. It's kind of I don't want to use the word in group, but it's kind of the in group,
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
We're all catching up. Oh, hey, what's up? Blah 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 blah. How was your week? And no one is really kind of an asshole. There's people who show up once a month, or once a rotation, once a set, but I'm reading everywhere online about people that are just assholes.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just
and, I mean...
Why? Why would you do that? You're just ruining the game for people.
Yeah. No, I read a lot, too, on, Reddit, it's Pro Tour player, and they were, scrutinizing...
Sorry, it was a little lagging out.
Oh, sorry. I read on Reddit a lot, people who go to either FNM or a pre-release, and they're playing against a Pro Tour player, and the Pro Tour player is chastising them the whole time, and it's just why? Why be like that?
Exactly.
So,
especially if you're a Pro Tour player,
I think
people are gonna look up to you. You're the big deal. You're the big wig.
Yeah, exactly. People people, and this is going to be really contradictory since we're on a Magic podcast and I'm a Magic blogger, people who only have Magic going for them are probably the worst kind of people. Like, if you have nothing else that you're doing in life besides Magic, even if you're a Pro Tour player, like, if that's all you do, like, cool, that's all you do, but you have to broaden your horizon somewhat, or else you're going to get super narcissistic and super just self-absorbed about this game, that you need to broaden your horizons and understand that there's a life outside of the 60-card decks, and from there, just kind of, it'll help you in Magic. Right. But if all you do is Magic, you're not going to do better. There's in one of the posts, and I don't remember which topic it is, and I wrote it. In one of the posts, I bring up a composer, Joseph Haydn. And Joseph Haydn was a composer, and all he did was compose for the Esterhazy family.
Right.
And he wasn't allowed to talk to other composers. He wasn't allowed to go to the salons and talk to other composers. He wasn't allowed to go see symphonies. He wasn't allowed to go to see operas. Right. And he kind of developed his own style of music, or stayed kind of with what he knew. While music was kind of changing and Mozart was writing and Beethoven was kind of on the cusp, he was just kind of writing his own stuff, just like he always had, and he didn't grow. And just in that same light, like, if Magic's all you do, you're not going to grow. Yeah. Sure, you're playing Magic all the time, but if you're not bringing in other resources, like, that's why I play chess. That's why I do other stuff, is what can help me in Magic, as well as give me something other than to play Magic. So it's kind of the yin and yang of community versus self. You can't be so self-absorbed in yourself and play Magic all the time, and at the same time, you are going to be a part of a community. But where does that balance lie? Do you want to be more self-absorbed and not learn, or do you want to take everybody's input and not be yourself? So it's kind of that yin and yang balance of community versus self.
100%. I agree with that. I've always felt like Magic is a place where you can come and bring a lot of your social experiences, social, like, war strategy, with cards and stuff, the games, bring a lot of stuff you've learned, mostly social, of course, but bring them all together and, like, put them into use, and at the same time you learn, but there's, I guess what you were saying, there's, like, a limit, like, there's a ceiling, and it's not, it's not super low to the ground, but it's also not super high, and so if Magic's the only thing, you're going to hit that, and you're just fucked. You've got to have
it's like a learning curve. That's a really good analogy, yeah.
You've got to have that.
If Magic's all you do, you hit the ceiling, and then that's it.
Yeah, you got to have your other, your other groups of people. You've got to have your other, going out to the bowling alley, karaoke, the bar, whatever else you do. And if it's literally just Magic 24/7, it's the same thing over and over.
And, musicians and artists and the fine artists and the authors, and everybody does that too. Where they'll let's say, for instance, you're building a deck, right? You're doing a brew. You build a brew, and then you leave it for a day or 2 or 10. You go do other things, and you come back to the brew with a new set of eyes and a new kind of refreshed persona and everything, and you look at the deck and you're like, wow, that is a garbage deck. But at the time when you're building it, you're like, this is the coolest thing ever. This win condition is going to be so cool, this infinite combo. And then you're like, wait a minute, this is garbage. So, again, in Magic, overall Magic's the same way. You have to come at it with a fresh set of eyes every once in a while. And in Magic's all you do, that's literally impossible. And you're going to be hitting that ceiling, like you said.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way to look at Magic. I mean, it's not just Magic. It's not just, the card games. It's anything. It can be the only thing you do. And the same idea applies to the ceiling and just burning out. You've got be eclectic.
Yeah, like the jack of all trades, master of none mentality is pretty good, I think, because it allows you to broaden your horizons and it allows you to approach things with a different frame of mind. Like, being a historian lets me go through Magic through the eyes of Sun Tzu and kind of analyze what Sun Tzu says and how can I apply that to my own, game plans and my own lines of play. Or playing chess and learning chess, because I am so bad at chess, it's unfreaking real how bad I am.
Right.
But because I'm so bad at chess, I'm learning chess. And then I was playing that Star City IQ, and I was like, oh, if I did this, it'd be kind of like this in Magic. Or if I did this, it'd be kind of like this in chess. And I don't remember what it was. It was setting up a block defense. That's what it was. Because I said if you set up a piece to capture another piece, your piece isn't going to get captured, and they're kind of at a stalemate. So I was like, oh, well, then I should play the Archdruid now instead of later. That way they get the buff. So that way that attack block scenario, they'll trade rather than that. And I was like, oh, that's pretty brilliant. So, and there you go. So I used, the outside experience, which might be obvious, but even if it is, it just in my own personal experience, it brought an outside source into the Magic arena, and from there I was able to apply it to a game of Magic, which is why having all those broad outlets is so important.
Right. Wow, that's awesome. I think that's, I have nothing else to say because I think that's, so spot on. And,
yeah, I
agree,
and again, going back to the writing it down and kind of recording your games, writing it down, and doing the deck tech things, I would have never thought of that if I didn't pick up chess, And so you can apply anything from an outside world into Magic, but also don't make Magic your life and do things in an outside world. So that would be mine. Even if you're a pro tour and stuff, you'll probably be a better Magic player if not all you do is play Magic, which sounds really counterintuitive, but it's probably true.
I agree with you 100%. I think yeah. 100%. I have nothing else, it's genius. What else do we have on that list over there?
What are your Pro Tour goals?
Okay, so I'm a big believer in baby steps, so we got to do baby steps first.
Yeah.
When I was like, I got to play Magic. So that was baby step one. So baby step one was to play Magic. So I put myself out there I knew nobody in the community when I started.
Right.
So I was like, I'm going to go to the LGS and be like, what's up, guys? I'm here to play Magic. I don't know anything. You're going to kick my ass. So be it. Here we go. And that was my first game of Pauper, so I was like, I did it. And then I built I bought what was it? The Challenger decks that came out for Standard.
Okay.
So I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I was just probably not a good idea. But when I very first started, and I was in San Antonio, and I was buying product off the shelf like it was going out of style, because I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, oh, this will probably be useful, and this will be. So I'm just buying packs and buying things that aren't standard, buying things that are in standard, buying the $20 packs at Target that are just an accumulation of all these packs in one little plastic box,
They're $10 cheaper out there, dude. We gotta go to fucking Texas. Anyways, continue. Sorry. Got excited.
But yeah, and so I'm just buying stuff off the shelf like it's going out of style, not knowing what's going on. And I bought one of the Challenger decks finally after somebody was like, no, you should focus in on this. So I bought the Vehicle Rush deck, and I was like, okay, this is how Vehicle Rush works. And they were like, oh, well, you should buy the Hazoret one, but we're out. So it was always that was in the back of my mind. And I went to Target one day and they had it. And I was like, that's for me now. And that was at a time a couple months ago where you could flip a profit. Because Chandra was it was $20, $19.99, because they don't mark it up, unlike some of the local local game stores, the LGSs do. Because Hazoret was always $10 more any LGS I went into. But Target doesn't do that. So, and Chandra was $25 at the time. And the deck itself was $19.99, so you can kind of turn a profit on it. Fun fact. But so I bought that. Went into the local game store in San Angelo called the Gathering Place, where I met some more competitive players, and they're the ones that introduced me to Elves and got me on the Elves actually. So shout out to them in that store. But I went in there and I bought some Rekindling Phoenixes and bought some. What else did I buy? More Chandras. And kind of made a mono red deck. And Hazarets, more Hazarets. Not knowing what I was doing, of course, because I'm still new. But I'm like, okay, cool, I got a deck now. So then I went back and I was like, okay, I'm going to play it in FNM. So then I played that in FNM. I put myself out there and I was like, whatever happens, happens.
Right.
And I got fourth at this FNM. Come to find out that the FNM was a modern FNM, and I'm over here playing a standard deck, and I got fourth. So I was like, okay, we're doing good things. This is your first time playing an FNM, and you placed. You got a free pack. Cool. You broke even. And you placed. So that's neat. So then I played the FNM. I was like, okay, now I need to kind of familiarize myself with the different formats. So then I did that. And, just all these baby steps. So right now, the newest baby step was, okay, we're getting competitive. We need to go to a competitive event. And what was it, last Saturday, there was a Star City IQ. I was like, okay, I'll go to Star City IQ, see what's going on there. And went 3-2, didn't make top 8, but I went 3-2 with Green Black Elves. My first two matchups were Control. And Control and Elves don't get along.
Yep.
So I was 0-2. Got the bye in round 3 because I was losing worse than everybody else. So I got the bye, so I at least have a win so I can match up with somebody. And then won the last 3 games because it was a 5-round Swiss. So I lost, bye, won. So that was cool. So I won more than I lost. So that was baby step. So now the baby step is probably do a modern PPTQ, because I haven't done the PPTQ circuit yet. So that'll be the next step. So now I'm just kind of buying time, waiting for the next one. Go try that. Probably won't win, but who knows? Every loss is a learn. Unless you don't learn, then it's a loss. Right. So you go, you learn, you kind of get the vibes, you see what's going on, and then eventually we'll top 8. That's the next goal. Top 8 something. Once you top 8, then you want to win it. You win it, then you want to top 8 the RPTQ. Once you top 8 the RPTQ, you win the RPTQ. And somewhere in there you go to a Grand Prix, and somewhere in there you go to a Star City Open and some other stuff. But we'll see. But, you know, it's all about baby steps. It's all about that baby step approach and that baby step mindset. Because if you're like, I'm going to win a Pro Tour. Okay, I've been playing 3 months. These guys have been playing since 1993. The game is 2 weeks older than I am, and they've been playing since it began. So I'm probably going to lose due to experience alone. So you can't set your goals to be so unattainable. It's possible, but it's probably not going to happen. It's improbable.
Right.
So with the baby step approach, and was thinking little steps along the way. You know, I put myself out there. Now we're getting competitive. Now we're trying to do some competitive stuff. Just baby step approaches. What can I do to help me reach that goal? What am I doing wrong? What am I doing differently? What should I do differently to achieve that goal? And from there, you just build up, and then from there, we'll go to the Pro Tour eventually. Might not be next week, but we'll get there. That's the goal anyway.
Right. I like that. I like the baby step approach. I think it's a very safe isn't the word I want to use, but
it's realistic is what it is.
Yeah,
it's kind of like,
I want to say.
I don't know, dude. Like the whole time we're having this conversation amongst us, I feel like, because like you're a music guy, we're in a band together, we do music. I feel like it's like music oriented, if that makes any sense. Like you don't win a Grammy, you write a song, and then you play the song, and then you play shows, and then you go on tour, and then you release your EP, and then you release your album, et cetera, et cetera. It's about putting things into realistic perspectives and achieving those goals in order to do the bigger goal.
And, you know, to take that a step further, you know, that exact analogy for if there's any musicians listening or anybody familiar with music, like, even then, there's still that woodshedding element of it. It's like, I can't nail this lick. I can't do sweep picking. I can't do X, Y, or Z on my instrument, technically. So, what do I have to do to achieve that? Right. Okay, I can sweep pick now. Okay, now let's go play the tune. Oh, okay. So there's still that woodshed element, even there, even in Magic, you know, like you want to hit all the PPTQs and the RPTQs and do better and better and better, but it's like, what is my deck not doing? What am I not doing? What is my opponent doing that always eats my lunch, like Jeskai Control and Elves or Blue-White Elves, anything that Path 1 exit. The Path of Exile turn 1 against a mana dork is literally the worst thing on the freaking planet.
Yeah.
It gets me every time. Every time that happens, I will lose. I've come to that conclusion. So it's like, if you do that, I might as well just scoot now unless I can squeeze out a collected company. But even then, you're going to Supreme Verdict because by that time, all your mana is going to be out. You're going to be able to do whatever you want. So, and that's kind of what the latest blog post was about, was that momentum and knowing your engine, knowing your opponent's engine, and be like, I have to beat your engine, and I have to arrive at the battle first before he does. Because when he gets there, he's going to be exhausted from trekking the whole way anyway, and my army's going to be chilling out, waiting for them to arrive. So we're going to have the upper hand because we're going to be strategically put, and we're going to be rested while they've been walking. And that's kind of where the mana comes in. Like, do I have all my elements in play before he could even get his? And that's why that turn 1 path is so freaking bad, because it's like, I'm just trying to play catch-up the rest of the game, and he's like, I got all my mana out, Supreme Verdict, whenever you might get out something, maybe.
Right.
But anyway, going back to the topic at hand, it's all about that woodshed and all about figuring out what you can do to get better along the way. The baby steps don't always have to be, okay, what's the next chronological thing? But, oh man, I'm really losing to this matchup all the time. I'm losing to Affinity. Well, what am I doing wrong? Well, then you could go decipher the deck. Try and come up with your own deck tech video and your own deck tech ideas. Compare it against what Affinity players have to say on their deck tech channels and on Channel Fireball and SCG and Goldfish and whatever else. And from there, you'll probably get better because you're going to be analyzing it independently, like I said earlier. So that is that's probably the best piece of advice and the best thing to help you along your baby steps, I think, personally. Some people might disagree. Some people might agree. Personally, that's what I have to say. So
that's awesome.
with you,
yeah, I think it's
wholeheartedly.
whenever I'm always, watching things about Pro Tours or, qualifiers or whatever, matchups, I'm watching the actual finals, I'm like, I'm going to win a PT one day. That's going to be me on TV. And I'm sitting here just listening to you talk, and I'm just like, wow, I feel like I'm really fucking stupid. Like, I need to, exactly what you're saying, just take it one small baby step at a time. And you might lose some here and there, but overall, dude, you're going to be a winner if you just take it small steps.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, again, every loss is a learn. Unless you don't learn, then it's just a loss. So you got to figure out what you did wrong, what he did right, or what just luck of the draw happened. Did RNG play into it? Did it not? Did you just misplay? Should you have... My biggest thing, this is a fun story, my biggest thing that I had to overcome as a beginning Magic player was tapping the correct land. Mm-hmm. And that seems so freaking obvious, but I'd be like, I just need a white and 3, and then I'd tap 3 blues, but I have 800 whites sitting out there, and I'm like, but I should have played this counterspell. All I have is blues, and the blues are all tapped now. So just things that just seem so obvious sometimes aren't.
Yeah.
And you have to really take that, and that kind of comes into play with the take a step back from Magic. You kind of have to take a step back from the game and kind of take a step back from what's going on and be like, what do I need to work on as a Magic player to really get better at this game? I should probably tap my lands better and really think about which ones I'm turning sideways, because sometimes you might turn the wrong one sideways, and that can literally cost you the game.
Exactly.
Because you decided to tap it's not wrong. You could still summon what you needed to. However, you should have tapped this one, so you could also have played this, because you tapped out of one color because you're an idiot. So it's like, I shouldn't be an idiot. I should think about this and be better. Okay, well, let me do that. And then I just, for 3 weeks in Elves and playing the standard, playing red-black, I tap all my red and we only have black. And I'm like, I could have played this I could have played this Rekindling Phoenix or whatever it is. Or what is it? The Assimilation, the bomb-looking card, where it just destroys a target creature, red, black, and a 1. 1 red, black. I can't think of the name of the card now.
It's in standard, right?
But anyway.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, in standard. It's what red, black uses for removal.
But it's Kaladesh block.
Something whoever's listening to this is probably shouting the card at the radio right now or whatever, but
put it up top.
You know the card I'm talking about.
Yeah, we got it.
And if you tap out of one color, then you don't have the other color to summon the thing. So, and it really just, because I get super into it, and this is another reason that I highly recommend that you write it down, is because if you look at kind of, from a historical standpoint, if you look at history and you look at oral history, when something traumatic happens, like an assassination, or 9/11 or something, right, and you're doing an oral history on that, everybody kind of remembers the event a little bit differently, and there's details that are changed.
Of course.
So you don't know what exactly happened because there's different kind of accounts of the same event. So when you're playing a game, you don't, and you're concentrated and you're not paying attention to something or other, then you have a record of what happened. That way it's not, you should have done that. Well, wait, was I tapped out on that land? I don't remember. Was I tapped? I don't recall. So that way, if you write it down, you're like, I should have done that. I wasn't tapped out. I thought I was, but I wasn't, if I remember back. So, but yeah, that's another reason that I would highly recommend it write down, because whenever you're in the zone, you're in the zone, and there's some things that you don't quite remember correctly, or there's some things that you might misremember, and that can kind of cost you getting better.
Of course.
Because you're not analyzing the game as effectively and as accurately as you could be.
Yeah. Spot on. I think tapping lands is so important. Last night when we were, running Bluebird, there were times where I'd literally be like, this is the land I have to tap for this, this, and this. But the stuff I'd leave untapped would be dependent on them thinking I have a counter spell or a kill spell. So depending where we were in the game, what I wanted to get rid of, it would be I would leave red open if I wanted to make them think I'd kill the creature after combat, or I'd leave a blue open and think I'd counter something, main 2, keep black open for a murder, and cards that I'd even have in my deck. I'd be like, I want them to think I have a murder.
Yeah, like green for Titanic Grove and stuff like that.
Yeah, Rabid Bite, all that kind of stuff. The removal, which is, stuff that you're going to use, I think Rabid Bite's a sorcery, but stuff that you can keep your mana open for to just play with your opponent, even when it's not even your deck. I'm one of the games, the last game I played, this kid was just telling me, like, dude, like, when are you going to get your counterspell? Like, I know you have a counterspell. You're going to be running counterspell in, 5-color. Like, I know all your blue cards are going to be counterspell. This is game 2. I had won the first one. And I just looked at him and was like, I'll get my counterspell by the end of the game. I'll counter something for you. I passed up every counterspell that I saw. I passed up every counterspell.
I didn't play a single counterspell either.
It's not worth the slot.
No.
Not 5-color. And so I just had this kid thinking the whole time, I'm going to counter like his biggest creature. And he played so small, dude. It's just, and it goes back to the mana, just keeping the right colors open.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And, again, like you said, that brings up that psychological aspect. Well, two untapped blues, well, that could be counterspell, that could be a lot of things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So in that, and let's take that one step further again. When I was in college and when I was a music major in college, one of my professors, he was a jazz musician. He was a traditional musician. He's the guy that I picked up Irish traditional music from. And we kind of talked about the Irish traditional thing. Right. But he's like, if you want to sound like a musician, don't listen to that musician. Learn who those musicians learned from. And you'll kind of figure out how they sound like them. So you listen to their teachers and listen to their inspiration, and you might pull out a sound. Like if you don't want to sound like, if you're a rock musician, for instance, and you want a 60s sound, don't listen to the Beatles, listen to Buddy Holly, because that's who the Beatles were highly influenced by.
Right, exactly.
Buddy Holly and the Crickets, and the Beatles being the bug pun to kind of, go back to Buddy Holly.
Right.
And in the same vein as that, Magic is, in my opinion, and I'm sure a lot of others, a combination of chess and poker.
Yeah.
It's chess with your lines of play and the strategy, but poker with an element of bluffing.
Right.
So if you want to learn good Magic, pick up chess and pick up poker as your side hobbies. Yeah. Because you're going to learn more, you're going to better, I'm trying to figure out the best way to say this, you're going to better nurture the skills that make those games so unique than you would in a game of Magic. You're going to learn how to bluff better by playing poker than you will in Magic. You're going to learn lines of play better in chess than you will in Magic. You combine those two elements, and it makes you a more effective Magic player. Just like he said, if you want to learn how to sound like a musician, learn from the teachers. If you want to learn how to play good Magic, play Magic's influences. Play chess, play poker, learn how to bluff, learn your lines of play. Bring it to Magic, makes you a better Magic player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of Magic in that light, chess plus poker equals Magic. I never thought of it that way. But then as you say it, it's literally
that's
Magic.
How I play the game, because I used to play Control and Stun and Yu-Gi-Oh! Right. So it's that like bluffing aspect mixed with because I played chess when I was really young.
Yeah,
so,
me too. Yeah. Very, very much so. I think that's a very safe and applicable outlook on furthering Magic. It's what you just said, and it goes back to having more hobbies. Everything we're talking about just ties back to whatever we've said, 2 or 3 subjects.
Yeah, it's all incredibly cyclical, and it's all incredibly just in the same vein. Everything kind of ties into each other,
Right.
And it has to. Otherwise, if it's not, then you're not doing something right, I think. If your circle is not a complete circle, then you're missing something, or you're missing an element to link the circle back. By having other hobbies and by doing other things, you're going to be a better Magic player. By picking up other games and by doing other things, you're going to be a better Magic player. By playing Magic, you're also going to be a better Magic player. By not being afraid to put yourself out there, you're going to be a better Magic player. By just putting your balls to the wall and just doing it no matter what, and just having the courage and having the confidence to kind of go out there and be like, yeah, I'm going to lose, so what? So who cares? And I'm going to deal with assholes along the way. So what? Their moral compass ain't right. Mine is. They need to adjust theirs. I'm fine. And just kind of acknowledge that and kind of acknowledge that you're going to lose a lot and acknowledge that there's a lot of obstacles in the way, and that's okay. Pro Tour players lose. Yeah. There's only one winner. So just because you lose doesn't mean you're a bad Magic player. It just means that something happened. They drew right. You didn't. Unless you can nullify, or at least you can pinpoint an exact time or an exact event by recording your games that you misplayed. Then you can fix the problem, which makes you better. Every loss is a learn, unless you didn't learn. In that case, you just lost. Right. So it all ties back.
Yeah, it's very, what you said, very cyclical. I love it. I want to double check. You've been thinking, oh my god.
Yeah.
Dude, look at all these notes niggas. Niggas been just he's back in school right now, Mr. Teacher. Yeah. I think...
Dude, I was a teacher, so there you go.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, dude, I think, everything that we've had, planned, we've
talked about.
Yeah, we've covered. Oh, I'm sorry, you probably want to keep taking notes. Okay. I'm sorry, I'll buy you a donut sometime. We get donuts a lot.
It's our fuel.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to cover, talk about, ask us, promote? We're going to put your and whatnot everywhere.
I'm just saying, right now we're sitting at about 1,200 page views on McWhiskey,
Oh, yeah.
So that's cool.
Good site.
There's about 9 RSS subscribers, so that's cool. There is a Facebook page that I really would like to use for community input and for discussion. Like, do you have anything to say about it? Do you have any questions? And we can just kind of talk about it and kind of talk about Magic through this light. And another reason, I guess, deck tech videos exist, brew advice exists, but thinking about Magic in this way doesn't. So that's kind of the goal with McWhiskey, is to kind of think about Magic through a different lens, kind of through the Art of War lens. And the next project will be On War by... he was a German military strategist, and the name's escaping me because I'm talking about him. Carl something or other that I can't. On War by Carl, German last name. That'll be the next kind of series of blog posts in the vein of, in the Art of War kind of vein, as well as just some random articles that we've kind of talked about that I need to put in a blog post. There's the Instagram page where I just kind of post pictures and just kind of the daily life in Magic. And that's really about it. That's just kind of the McWhiskey empire, the Facebook page, the website where the blog posts are, and the Instagram. So, and I have a Magic Online account, Whiskey. There's a number after it that I can't think of. Let's see. Magic the Gathering Online. It's literally the year that the Whiskey Rebellion started, and now I can't think of what it is. And I'm a history teacher. 1790 what? Oh, man. And Magic Online won't load. And I'd really like to say what my handle is, and it's just not going to...
We'll put it up on the screen.
It's just not going to pull up.
Yeah, we'll put it up on the screen for you as well. Everything, all your other sites and whatnot. Definitely, man. Mm-hmm.
Hey, man, that's super awesome. Y'all are super cool. Y'all's moral compass... A-okay in my book.
Thank you.
True North.
Y'all are doing good stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, we really enjoyed talking with you.
It was nice to meet you.
Yeah, very actually.
Yeah, man, it was nice to meet you all. Thanks for having me on. It was good conversation. I hope that your listeners enjoy it. Hope that everything goes well for y'all. I mean, we'll be talking on Instagram and stuff all the time too. So
without a doubt.
Yeah, well, we'll do it again, podcast or not. We'll catch up. Something great happens. You want to talk about something? Just hit us up, dude. We'd love to do this again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Yeah, we can do like a 3-4 month every couple months. We'll just catch up on our Magic lives. It'd be cool.
That would be really cool.
Yeah,
that'd be really awesome.
Yeah, I'm down for that. We can talk about it more. Set it up. We can make that happen. Yeah, definitely.
Cool, man.
Yeah. So
all right. When's the episode go live?
We're gonna put it up
Monday. I want to say
by Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah.
I think as much as I can edit everything tomorrow. And then if I finish tomorrow, it'll be up Sunday night.
Yeah.
If I don't, I'll edit through Monday. Hopefully have it up Sunday night, Monday night, if not Tuesday night at the latest.
Sweet, man.
Yeah. And so, all
right, guys. Y'all take care. Y'all have a lovely night. Y'all have fun playing Magic if you're playing Magic this weekend at all.
Yeah. We're probably going to go play a game after this
right
now.
I'll play some Commander.
Oh, right on.
Something like that, yeah.
So all we do is play Magic. We gotta go figure out other things to do. We're gonna screw ourselves. Yeah.
We cook sometimes.
You cook. I sit there and I talk your ear off about Magic.
Yeah.
No, thank you so much, Garret, for joining us. Thank you so much. You're the first guest.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So we're super happy you
it's a pleasure, man.
Took the risk of being...
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Anytime,
man.
We'll continue to grow as we continue to play.
There you go. Continue to play. I like it.
We'll catch you, man. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, dude.
Yeah. You have a wonderful...
Take care, you guys.
Alrighty, man. Adios.
See ya.
See ya.
So that was our interview with Garret McNutt, a.k.a. McWhiskey MTG. We hope you guys really enjoyed it. We, along with this, we're also going to have a full-on podcast episode up. It's going to be separate from this. We're obviously going to talk about, I think, our discussion. We took a lot of notes.
Mm-hmm. And we'll talk about our discussion. We'll talk about our last F&M, and I would like to also talk about Commander 2018 because there's a lot to talk about.
A lot to talk about. So, definitely. Thank you guys for joining this, or I guess, maybe something that will become regular, like a guest number 1, this person, guest number 2.
Yeah.
I think we're just going to start inviting all our friends on to talk about nerdy Magic stuff.
I would like to get Jimmy. I would like to get Bloss on here.
Bloss, Jake. We can grab Jake.
Yeah.
Pale Jake, the other Jake.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a bunch of stuff kind of in the works. Kind of, up here. Thanks. Hope you guys enjoyed the interview. We're going to stop talking your ear off. You guys have a wonderful night. Stay safe. Good luck on your games. Adios.